Hello everyone, I am V. Srinivas, also known as VSR. I am the Chairman and Managing Director for BT and BT. It is a lean digital consulting firm. I am also Chairman for Open Digital Innovation Platform for Institution of Engineering and Technologies. Today, I'm going to have very interesting discussion on a topic called the Great Resignation, surviving the talent shortage. I think this is quite apt, and I have very eminent speakers. Let me invite Sonal Arora, Country Manager, GI Group Holding. Sonal, thanks for joining. And I have Mohit Kumar, President, HR and Head, L&D, Talent Acquisition and Management, OE, HO and Sales HR, Hindalco Industries. Thanks, Mohit, for joining this interesting panel.
My pleasure.
All right, Sonal and Mohit, in the last 6 months, we have been seeing, of course, it was there in the past also, especially some of the technology companies and other industries also, the attrition has gone up. And some technologies companies are saying that it is 30%, 35%. And even in other industries also, we have seen that trend. So, Mohit, you want to share some of your thoughts on last 5 to 10 years, we have been talking about the fourth industrial revolution, and the technologies are changing the businesses, new skills are required, new roles are required, new behaviors are required. While we are speaking that, I think 2020, we experienced a pandemic. That is also another very challenging situation we all faced. So with these two contexts, one is the fourth industrial revolution and digital economy, and second, this pandemic. So what you see, the whole HR ecosystem, I mean, do you see any change? Do you see any challenges or risks? Can you please share your thoughts on that?
Well, thank you so much. As you rightly said, that there's a lot of new, as you said, that there's new in technology, there's new in experiences, and there's new in behaviors. So I'll focus more on the new in the experiences and the behaviors. And as you rightly said, that there's a lot of change post-pandemic, right? Pandemic has forced us, all of us as professionals, to think through what really matters. People have seen, people have gone through turmoil. They have faced personal challenges, personal grief, and personal setbacks, and also remaining confined for almost 2 years at your home, not meeting your office colleagues, not meeting your family members. That's something which is very unusual, that the human race and we as professionals were not really prepared for it.
Right.
That has kind of pushed us to think that what really matters. So people are looking for meaning, because you live only once. The importance of life and importance of experiences, importance of purpose, that has become even more prominent now. So our colleagues, our friends in the industry, they're looking for more meaning, more purpose, more flexibility. That's a change in terms of what experiences they're looking for, what behaviors they're looking for. So like not dealing with the uncertainty, providing meaning, providing purpose, providing even hygiene to the team members. That becomes the job of not only leaders but every manager. So that's the new ask. That's the new ask,
Right.
to understand the changing perspective and connect and deliver as per the changed expectations of the people around.
Right. I think you raised a very important point. Most of the times, I think we are highly focused on the business performance, the customer's happiness, the shareholder happiness, and all. So now we are talking about the purpose, the meaning, the hygiene, and there are so many new things got added. So, Sonal, what do you think? I mean, these are all the, I think, the behavioral plus personal aspects and the expectations from the employees. Do you see from the business side any changes you have seen where we are facing a lot of HR challenges in terms of, okay, every alternate month, I think you hear some new technologies, and building those skills is not that easy. Okay, so I think there is a huge gap in terms of innovations and digital skills perspective. So, what is the expectation from organization side? I think Mohit very well articulated the expectations from the employees perspective. Can you please share something on organization perspective? What is that?
Sure. So, as you rightly said, that the fourth industrial revolution has actually changed the way we do business. And I think the combination of the fourth industrial revolution and the pandemic has changed the entire business scenario much more rapidly than probably either one of them would have done. If we had only the fourth industrial revolution, but not the pandemic, maybe the change of pace at the business and the employee expectations would have been a little bit more moderate. But because of the combination of two, it has a exponential effect, I would say. So see, the digital, the fourth industrial revolution is all about digitization of products and services. So first of all, the pace of innovation has increased, which means that while there is a lot of startups coming, new business opportunities being identified, but there is also a lot of competitiveness in the entire business world, to keep up. If you don't keep up with the latest innovative practices, technologies in your industry, as an organization, your survival may not be secure. So obviously organizations are made of people. So then for organizations to do well, people have to we keep talking about how digitization will take away jobs, etc., etc. So in my view, digitization will not take away jobs per se, but digitization will change the nature of jobs. I mean, we already see that products which were used when we were growing up, nobody uses those products. Our children have perhaps not even heard of, what those products are. Nobody knows what is a CD player or a cassette, or even for that matter, a floppy disk. So there are services and products which have been made redundant. There are new services and products which have come up in the market. Obviously, organizations will expect that their employees keep up with the skills required. But I would also say that it is not just on the employee, it is also the onus of the organization to upskill the employees, keep them ready for the pace of change that is going on, anticipate the skills that are required, and prepare their employees before those skills are actually needed. So that's my
Yeah, I think it's a very well articulated. So, what do you think, Mohit? Is there any trust deficiency between the employer and employee? I mean, the resignations and all. So, when we started the career, probably 7-8% means wow, okay, 7 to 8% or 10%. It's okay. Less than 10% is okay and all. I mean, some of the news items we are seeing today, Mohit, 30%, 35%, which was there probably in other industries, especially in the technology space. If you look at BPO industry, we always have 50-60%. That was something a norm. But in the normal tech stream today, I think it is going to 30-40%. Is it because the pandemic impacted that, or is there any trust deficiency which was there even in the past, but the pandemic has given a little bit different spin to that, so that the people are leaving? So, what do you think the trust deficiency perspective, both ends? Employee says that they don't care. Employer says that okay, they are coming and working. It's not like something emotional connect is there. The engagement. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'll talk about from the perspective the where I'm experiencing our attrition is still in single digit. That is fine, but still it has gone up compared to what it was earlier. So trust deficit, yes, trust is something that we need to keep working on it continuously. More than that trust deficit, it is more in terms of how we are geared up to understand the changing aspirations and the expectations. So as we discussed that aspirations of the employees are that you live only once. So whatever you need to do, you need to do it kind of now. Yeah. So kind of those kind of paradigms that stick around and things will come in play, come for you and which will happen. Now employees are taking charge of their life and what they want to do in that. life. So the aspirations are changing, the expectations are changing. There are opportunities which are there, and there's an eagerness to avail those opportunities, create those experiences, create those uh, capabilities, create those careers, create those opportunities for well-being for the employees which are there, and people are not willing to wait. They may have the trust with you, but they may not have the trust with respect to whether you really understand the changing aspirations and the expectations. Are you geared up from the mindset point of view? From the mindset point of view, to really absorb what is changing in them. So being in tune with what is changing in them is the ask. And similarly for the employees also, what is changing in the business scenario and how they can leverage that change. That is something which is, there's a change, big change, both ways. That has to be openly accepted.
Okay. So Sonal, that means the tolerance limits have gone down. Do you think? I mean, Mohit is saying the expectations are changed, the aspirations are changed. But in the past, if you remember, probably 20, 15 years back, 10 years back, having the secure job is important. Monthly getting CTC is important. Today, do you think they have many choices available and they can survive without even monthly intake for a few months without money and all? I mean, unless they have that confidence, right? If in the Maslow's theory, I'm sure you know that the basic needs, security, and then social needs, then self is probably esteem level. So do you think the employees, most of the employees, probably their parents' social and economic status got changed? So this generation thinking that not a problem, couple of months we can wait. So do you think, what is the attitude?
So I think there are two aspects to it. One is definitely, the generations which are now coming into the work stream, they identify, as Mohit rightly said, the belief is that it's one life. So they, they know what they want. And another important factor is that they don't identify their self-worth or their themselves completely only with work. They want to have a life outside of work, probably more than for want of a better word, people of our generation. And they are not insecure that if they don't have a job for I won't say it's about economic security, because probably even people of other generations, we could have survived few months without a job. Everybody plans, everybody saves, but I think it is more about attaching your sense of identity towards your profession or your career, which is where a lot of people, even if economically there is no challenge, they feel that, okay, if I lose my job, then who am I? The people who are coming in the work stream today, they want a life beyond work. When I interview people, they very clearly say, even 23, 24 year, I interviewed a 24-year-old 2 days back, and I asked him, what are your priorities? I think when I was 24 years old, my answers would have been very different. This young gentleman's answer was, I want work-life balance. I want to learn. I want time to pursue my hobbies, which is guitar. And then, of course, I want to work with a company which pays me well. So work-life balance and learning for them are, much more ahead, which is why they also probably change jobs frequently, not always for money, because also sometimes they feel that by being a part of different organizations, different cultures, different industries, they will learn more. So yes, there is definitely a mind shift. There is a mindset shift that's there, that we are seeing, and we have to adapt to it, because it's not going to go away.
Right. So I think I think baby boomers probably retired from the work mostly, uh, who born during Second World War. Then Gen X, probably our generation, probably Gen Y, and then Gen Zs. Of course, the 10-year-old guy is called at Gen Alpha now. We know.
Then
Maybe
Alpha.
another 10 years we have to wait for them. So, Mohit, so we have in the corporate, especially in the corporate working style, if not the small and mid-sized companies, very sophisticated HR systems. Okay, so we encourage the people to voice out their opinions, and then we will have some surveys. We will have annual performance appraisals to discuss with them and all. So, do you see this whole system is working fine? See, I think as Sonal and you mentioned, the aspirations, the expectations, life beyond the just work, and we have our own hobbies and all. We all agree that yes, employee expectations and aspiration change. Do you think, I'm not talking about specific to your organization, in general, organizations have they built the agility required in the changing the HR practices and policies and systems so that they can continuously innovate like we do for the customers, right? We always look at products and services, what new products, what new services. Oh, if I don't do that, probably my competition will take over. But I don't see such type of an urgency in the HR and business leaders. It's all right if this guy goes, probably next guy may come. Do you think is that attitude or lack of understanding of the expectations and aspirations causing high level of resignation and all?
Oh, very, very relevant questions and very, very relevant points that how agile we are with respect to understanding the changing expectations and accordingly putting the org design and the talent in place. That's what your question in nutshell is actually. Yeah, so very relevant question. So see, things are changing from the point of that a fixed structure, command and control kind of thing. People are looking for more and more empowerment. They don't want to be treated as a resource or as a human resource. They want to be treated just as humans. So my HR systems or as an HR professional, I'll be agile enough if I don't tap into or I don't aim to target into their time or kind of goal alignment or KRA alignment. That is something which has delivered till now. Can I do something where where I tap into their aspirations, right? What's the process for that? While I have been listening to them through different surveys and kind of then communicate back to them that okay, this is what you communicated and this is what I'm planning and delivering to you. From there, can I move on to partnership? Yeah, that this is what my aspiration is as an organization. This is what your aspiration is, and this is where the merging point is, right? How do we design the workplace? How do we design the processes to maximize the organization output and the individual output? Yeah. So that will be the test of agility, that we have to let go of whatever has worked till now. That famous saying that what got you here won't take you there. If that is applicable for the individuals, that is same
Right.
way applicable for the organizations. How to create more empowered workplaces where talent comes, talent is attracted, and talent is able to give its best. And that's possible by tapping into the aspirations, not by tapping into the time and not by tapping into the some performance metrics. That's dated now. The aspiration metrics has to be how do I tap into the aspiration metrics? That is something that has to come. That has to happen.
I think that's a right perspective.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I'm sure we all started with this GE's model of normalization and then force fitting the people
Yeah.
into the
We're
normal
still living with
distribution
that.
curve.
Yeah.
But I think people are saying, what is this relative comparison? Even I preached that, of course, 20 years back when
Of
it
us do
was.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, that probably also a reason where people feel that if I'm exceptional, absolute terms, why I should be compared with the so-called benchmarking exceptional, which again probably biased. The
Yeah.
people may think that. Okay, anyhow, so that aspirational metrics and all. Okay, so now I think 20 years back, I was working in one of the top technology companies. So they identified a leadership institute at that time because they did the assessment based on Malcolm's Baldrige National Quality Award, Indianized version. Okay, they realized that there is a gap in the leadership capabilities. I'm sure the 7 pillars of excellence is there. They started some leadership institute. They said there are 3-tier leadership in this company, 3-tier leaders. And I was one of the leaders in that tier 3 at that time, very young. But why it failed, I will tell you. So, do you think? So, one is, I think, as Mohit mentioned, the agility and as per the changing situations, the aspirational needs, it's not just always work goals. Most of our performance goals are what is the productivity and how much you delivered by what time, whether customer is happy or not, whether you learn or not, and all. There are so many metrics are there. So the reason why it failed, I'll tell you. Number one, the mentor system established was completely failed. That means, okay, tier 3 leaders read tier 2 mentors, tier 2 leaders will have tier 1 mentors and all, because the mentors are always busy. Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time, right? If that is the culture, automatically the employees, what is the great vision you have to build these 300 plus leaders out of 20,000? It completely got collapsed. Okay, that's number one. Number two, in some of the organizations, I am surprised that the HR is not reachable. We can probably communicate through chat internally or so much on that, but most of the, I think HR, the chat window is closed. They fear that, oh, if I open it, then I am flooded with so many requests. Since morning to evening, I can't work my job and I am flooded with so many complaints from the employees. But unfortunately, HR is required to solve those problems, but they avoid them. So do you think culturally there is a lot of change required in the senior management to spend time with the employees, whether mentoring or whatever other means? And also, we need to redefine HR. HR is becoming a negative nowadays, unfortunately. What is your thought on that?
So yes, I do agree. There is a need for us to redefine our leadership styles, and at two levels. I will come to the HR aspect subsequently. One is, I think we have to understand that leadership is probably we do already understand, but this is more so in the current situation. Leadership is not just about deciding strategy and taking long-term decisions. It is also about people enablement, and there has to be a focused effort and time from the leadership into developing their next, and I would say even next to next level. So if as leaders we all take responsibility that we will mentor, spend time with, listen, actively listen, not just our direct reportees, but maybe one level below, then that flow will happen, and the mentoring process will happen through the length and breadth of the organization. So that I think is very important. It is also important more than ever for leaders to listen to their employees, because now you rightly mentioned that earlier the focus was that take care of your customers, otherwise somebody else will. While we don't say it, but effectively that is what is happening in many industries. The great resignation is all about, okay, companies not taking care of their employees, and then they're going somewhere else. I mean, there are aspects of demand supply, especially in IT, there is a boom. So obviously those are seasonal effects which will play for maybe a year or two. But apart from that, also, as Mohit said, these employees are not scared of, it's one life, you don't care for me, I will work somewhere else. I will find somebody else who's willing to listen to me. So I think that aspect is important. The other aspect is, and this is specifically for senior leadership. This is something which I personally realized in last 1 year. While I may be willing to, mentor, spend time with my next level, but is my middle management doing for their next level? So there is also a need to strengthen the leadership abilities of people below the top level, because ultimately they are the backbone of the organization. The people who are in the middle layer, who manage the frontline teams, sales teams, customer teams, product teams in IT companies, who are the interface between the top leadership and the base which is at the bottom of the pyramid. There is a huge leadership skill deficit which I feel exists there. Most of them have become leaders, but they don't have the training or the understanding required into what goes into managing their teams effectively in a hybrid scenario or in a scenario like this. So I think there is need for companies to invest there. Now coming to the point of HR, yes, HR also needs to change, and but I would say that I won't say that there is no leading role in terms of helping the business deal with challenges in case of technology upgradation within the business, in case of people enablement. So I think in HR, of course, there is a need, but what we see is some organizations are ahead in terms of scaling up or let's say taking their HR department to next level, but maybe some need to work on this a little bit more. But definitely HR will need to play a role HR cannot behave like the personal department of 20 years.
Right. Yeah. I think if you take a country, if you take an organization and all, mostly there will be 3 or 4 influencers. Okay, maybe we drive 100,000 employees or 500,000 employees, but there are 4 or 5, I think, the leaders who can make it or break it. In my view, I think the way they demonstrate that empathy, their employee engagement focused attributes, and the values what they define and preach, whether they follow or not, I think matters a lot, is my view. Otherwise, we have seen a company with 3,000 people did an extraordinary job in terms of adhering to values, culture, and all. When it became 25,000 people, it got diluted. I mean, you cannot now drive with that 5. Then the next business level, the another 5. The next, I think, department level, another 5, right? Everywhere, I think, let us say 5 leaders, right? I think probably that the 5, the top 5 of that company or department or business, I think that is very much required. I feel personally that is missing element because they're failing to demonstrate. Lead by example is the biggest challenge in the industry. So, Mohit, till now we have been talking about organization challenges, but don't you think the values of the employees, the greediness, and a guy working in one company during pandemic worked in 5 companies and he opened 5 PF accounts, surprisingly. I don't know what PF department is doing, sleeping or what, we don't know, right? So while we are talking about this remote working, working from home, all those things, that is first point, I think people misused it. And number 2, what is the productivity of employees? I have seen the big companies. I worked with so many great companies. 20% of the people work 18 hours, but
Sorry?
remaining people work twice. 20% of the employees work 18 hours or 14 hours or 12 hours and all, but other guys work 5 to 6 hours. Probably average they spend 2 3 hours in the cafeteria or some gossiping. Okay, it may be very bold and controversial statement, I'm sure. Okay, so what you think? Okay, aspirations, expectations, I all agree, life purpose and all. But do you think there is a change in terms of the greediness, especially this part of the world? We see that, okay, when I join the company, I have to construct a villa, I have to construct this, or I have to go to US, I have to make a bank balance of these many crores by this time, and there is a family pressure, neighbors pressure. So, what do you think? The employees, do you feel they are really behaving was the way expected by organizations? As we spoke a lot on the organizational deficiencies to be overcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Very pertinent questions. So one part is that the greediness part, which is bordering on the compromising the ethics part of it, right? That is, as you mentioned, that one person working in 5 organizations and all those things, right? So those are black ships that have to be weeded out of the professional system altogether, right? Having said that, if we put together all such cases, there'll be 0.00 some percentage actually, right? So we'll not be making our policies based upon the aberrations which are there. Most of the people are true to their work and the colleagues and the people and that organization where people have worked for 5 organizations, that systems are broken actually, right? So that is for organizations also to see that how come they're not aware of that a person is working for 5 organizations. That means the connect, as Sonal was mentioning, in the hybrid kind of environment, that connect is missing somewhere, right? That connect is not expected. If the connect is expected, it's just not possible for nobody in the organization to notice that a person is working for 5 organizations. But there will be very few cases. We'll not make our policies, processes for those aberrations, right? Second part is that say greediness or say aspirations of the employees, which is more into say having a villa, having say some crores of bank balance and all, means you have a complete range of people, right? As Sonal was mentioning that even at the age of 24, that gentleman that she interacted with, he was looking for work-life balance. He was looking for nurturing his hobbies. He was not necessarily looking for 1 crore rupees of bank balance and all, but there will be people who will be looking for 1 crore of bank balance. So, uh, as a employer or as a human resource, I'll not sit in judgment what is right or what is wrong. Let them have their own aspirations, but also define that what is in this organization, what is possible, what is promoted, what is valued, what is encouraged transparently. So in this organization, suppose learning is promoted, suppose work-life balance is promoted, suppose healthy relationships are promoted, suppose a long-term career is promoted. This I'll articulate, this I'll follow through on that. Yeah. Perhaps this is not a place where 1 crore can be done in 2 years' time as a bank balance. Yeah, if you do it, no judgments on that. But perhaps this is not the place for that. Find a startup, and suppose I feel like making 1 crore in 2 years' time, I'll also join you. As of now, my priorities are I'm looking for a place which is more holistic, well-rounded. Yeah. And I'm happy that way. Instead of chasing, say, 1 crore or a yacht or a villa, that's not my priority. If you have that priority, no judgments, but that's perhaps a different place for that. I'll be very transparent about it. That wealth creation does happen in the organization, but it doesn't happen this way. That if you're looking for, so find the right place. And very important thing you mentioned about the leadership talk and leadership walk. So as an employee, the employee will believe in what he experiences, because what the employee experiences that will create his beliefs, and those beliefs will create the actions, and those actions will create the results that you're looking for. So I may keep talking as a leader, but on the other hand, what is the experience which I'm giving to somebody who's sitting, say, 10 meters away from me on my floor? Yeah. Am I smiling at him? Yeah. Am I asking him, how are you? How is your family? How is your work aspirations? And how is the experience? Or just making a day a little brighter for that person. Yeah. That's the experience that will count more than compared to what I say, suppose in this panel, or suppose what I say in the panel in the organization, right? What I make the person coming across to me or walking past by me feel and experience, that is what will matter more actually. So walking the talk, or just walking, don't talk, just pass on the experiences.
Yes.
The skill part, you know, when you say that mentoring, coaching, listening, so all that is part of the skill to create experiences for the colleagues, peers, team members, seniors. Even seniors are human beings, right? So how do we create the experiences for them, right? That do I talk too much, or do I listen and understand also? So they also have to be treated like human beings, and the experiences, how skillfully I pass on to the. So that's I fully agree with you, and we need to walk, not talk.
Yeah, I think as you rightly said, it's not only just the goals of the organization which we keep it priority. Even the personal goals in the organization is okay. I will learn these things, get certified by the 2 certifications, 3 certifications. I will learn these skills. Okay, although at last probably some organizations they say my aspiration is to go to US or some other online on-site engagement and all. But we never had even informal or formal discussion like what is that your personal aspiration? So what is that you want to do in our life? I don't think that is a norm in most of the organizations. But as you rightly said, the purpose, the meaning, and expectations that become a norm now, it seems. And most importantly, it is not the HR in my view. So where I led big businesses and all, I think we should be the HR as a business heads and CEO. I mean, I cannot just simply say, hey, HR, just do this is your job, then gone. I don't think so. I think every business leader is a HR. Okay, that mindset is not there, unfortunately.
So that point that you're mentioning that HR is not accessible, yeah, I'm very happy if the HR is not accessible. HR should not be there. Yeah. The HR as a function or as a department so what needs to be understood at what needs to change is not the way the HR department or HR function. It's the way HR is understood. The HR, that is human relationship, let's not say human resource management, right? Human relationship has to work between the leader and the manager. As a human being, how many relationships you can manage or I can manage, right? say 8, 10, 15, 20. Yeah. So expecting that the quality of relationship will be good by one function, somebody who interacts with, no, in HR department, who interacts with the employee for a particular reason, it will not be possible.
Right.
It's not the right approach. The relationship quality will be better in the
Mm.
teams, actually, right? With the, and teams will include uh, the manager, the employees, the peers, and the boss. Right? Can you manage those relationships? Can you provide those experiences? And if at all there's a role for HR, then the role for HR is in terms of providing those skills, providing those processes, where this part of providing the experiences becomes so very easy, actually, and so very skillful. Yeah. People don't need to,
Right.
we
Yeah.
can't pass on relationship building, and
I think
we can outsource relationship building to HR department. So I'm very happy if HR is
right.
not accessible. That means the onus of building a relationship
Yeah.
is at the right place. That is with the, I'm not saying business leader. We expect too much from the business leaders. Leadership is at all levels, as Sonal was talking about. That middle level has to be reignited because that's a core. So how do we reignite that thing? So how do we provide that kind of skill and passion
Yes.
to build relationships
Okay.
and create experiences?
Yeah. I think in my view, I think we also implemented in our previous organizations people CMM, the people capability maturity model. You might have heard about it.
Yeah, yeah,
But end of the day, my view is the HR, I think, should play as an innovator in terms of human capital. It's
yeah,
not only just the relationship and all, the human capital. I don't think so. They will build everything, but I expect them to design in collaboration as a strategy in collaboration with the businesses and all. This is what the human capital or intellect capital we have to build, and they should be good facilitators and they I think they connect the business and employees in such a way like intermediary to ensure that I think that happens regularly. I think those probably in my view HR needs to
yeah.
look at. So
The
yeah,
ecosystem for the innovation, for the creativity, for the next level aspirations, moving up the value chain in the Maslow's hierarchy, the PCMM model, maturity
hmm,
model will also kind of match with the Maslow's maturity model also, right?
correct, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, so how do we create that ecosystem? That will be the role of the HR
right,
function, and as you
definitely,
rightly said, that it's beyond relationships, towards innovation, towards creativity, towards emotional capital, towards intellectual capital, towards spiritual capital, right? But it begins with the relationship. The
sure.
foundation of that is that.
Good, thank you. So, Sonal, I am sure we as organizations spend a lot on employee skills, the learning management, and knowledge management, also a very important piece of any organization. So, how do you discover knowledge? How do you create knowledge? How do you utilize the knowledge to improve employee productivity or the customer service quality level, so on and so forth. But we have seen so many instances, you have to go behind the employees to attend the trainings. Most of the times, I think it is a ritual because your boss told I have to attend. I mean, most of the cases, even big organizations, okay? It's not like, oh, I think there is a great course happening. Let me go and attend. I should not miss out. Okay, that's one, I think, a biggest challenge which I observed, even the biggest, very great organizations. The training has become like a punishment for the employees. They feel that, oh, he's pushing me, and they put a target for me in the performance appraisal, at least 40 hours I have to complete by year, so let me complete it and just ho gaya. So what do you think is missing in this whole learning academies and skill development perspective? Can you please share your thoughts on that?
So I think there are two things here. One is I do agree partly with what you are saying, that it is becoming a challenge to, or I would say perhaps to some extent it was always a challenge to get some of the employees to attend these trainings enthusiastically. First thing is we need to make them understand that why this development is important for them. A lot of times I come across and I'm sure that's been the case with Mohit and you as well, where when we have quarterly or biannual, annual appraisals or feedback sessions, one common I won't say complaint, but one common expectation of every employee is, what is my career path? Where am I going from here? Now, what you have to make them understand is, as Mohit said, that what has got you here will not get you there. So you need to upskill yourself. So it's a very it seems like a very logical thing, but it is not processed so logically by most people. That if you want to grow, you have to grow and upgrade your skills also. So first thing we have to highlight to people that, you know, where you are lacking, there has to be probably a feedback, there has to be an assessment where based on which we can tell them that, okay, these are the skills which you are lacking either in your current role, or maybe skills that you need to build up to go to your next level, and that is why these trainings are important for you. I know it sounds easier said than done, but ultimately this is where managers need to have a conversation with their people and explain to them how these skills will benefit them. Because a lot of times they feel that, okay, HR has a target to do training, that is why they are forcing us to do training, or my boss has a target. It's not about HR's target, it's about your own learning. So that is one aspect. The second aspect, again, I would say, is linked to probably the aspect of the fact that uh, attention spans in the coming generations, generation Y and Z, are going down. They will not sit for a 2-day training session. I think when we started our
Yeah.
careers, it was very normal to have a 3-day training session, usually a offsite, out of office, and people would look at it as an interesting thing. Okay, 3 days I will not have to work, I will go to a place, stay, we'll have offsite kind of thing, we'll be training. These these generations don't have the patience to sit for 3 days for a training session. So training technology, training delivery mechanism also needs to evolve, and they are evolving. I read a study where they said that the attention span of average human being is roughly 24-25 minutes. After
Right.
24-25 minutes, if you are not interested, your mind will start wandering.
Right.
So that is where new technologies like gamification of training, etc., need to be adopted. Interactive training, and especially when we have hybrid work models, people in different locations, some at home. Again, we need to adapt the content and the training delivery mechanism to make it interesting for people. So
Okay.
look at it at two levels. One, make them understand why and how it's going to benefit them, why they need it. And secondly, work on the content and the delivery mechanism to make it more interesting for them.
Sure. So I think Mohit, you can make a comment on this, what I'm going to share now. So we all come from organizations where, like Sonal mentioned, the career path is very important. That's where employees mostly live, and employee engagement is not there. They feel it is not my company. Okay, I think these are all the two major reasons. While financially is very important reason, I agree, but that's not always the reason why employees leave. Some people say that 80% employees leave just because of the boss. Okay, there are so many statistics says that. So, do you think the organizations design the career progression paths as required? For example, we used to have an excellent career progression paths wherever we worked. There is something like a management or project management path, product management path. 10 levels will be there. Maybe you become a chief product officer, or chief delivery officer, chief sales officer, chief technology officer. Let us say that is the top notch level where you reach if you want work in this company as an entry level associate. If you have really superstar, you may reach in 15 years or 12 years. Okay, that level. Okay, if you want to move from this band 1 to 3 to 4 to 5, and the progression paths, the new roles are getting introduced today. I mean, it's not like the old roles what we have just carry forward. And the role transition path is very important. If I want to move from this X role to Y role, I felt that is first important challenge. I felt most of the organizations are not much focusing on redesigning their career progression paths and role transition paths with guided learning paths, whether 15 minutes track and all. That is very important point needs to be addressed. The second important point what I observed is when organization is working on introducing new products and services. I used to challenge the learning academy, which we used to have a big one. Almost I think 300, 400 people worked in the academy itself in one of the organizations. Okay. So I asked them, do you ever map the skills required to offer these new offerings? Okay, 5 years back, I have this list of service offerings or this list of products and all. But have you ever did an assessment of these are all the new offerings came? Working with the business guys, oh, the alignment is there or not? It's not like, okay, I sent a template and give me your annual training program. That doesn't work. Okay, there should be an organization level initiative to ensure that because this is very dynamic now. Okay, so what do you think on that? Your thoughts on that? So that needs a lot of changes, my view. Mohit.
Yeah. A very, very pertinent question. Long time back, in 95, 96, I was reading a book by T.V. Rao, right? And in which he was visualizing HR 2020. Now we are crossed that HR
Okay.
2020. Yeah. Yeah. And what captured my imagination there was that is very simple. How do we connect with the employees? Yeah. So it is two words, that is honesty and transparency, and that holds good even now. That holds good for 2050 also. That holds good for 2100 also, with respect to the people management practices. That is honesty and transparency. Sounds very simple, honesty and transparency, but once it translates into our, how do we go about delivering it actually, right? So how do we make the present, right, where the organization is in terms of uh, transparently making it clear to the employees that this is where the organization is. This is what the possibilities for you are there. This is how the career paths are moving. This is what is required with respect to the capabilities which are needed for these roles to be done successfully. And this is what your capabilities are. This is how you can assess your capabilities. We can offer the assessment centers. We can offer, and we do offer. Yeah. We can offer the tools for the self-assessment. We can offer the tools for the managerial validation of that, and we can also offer the support system to develop the skills in line with
Right.
how the roles are in the current organization. Right? We can also offer that, okay, this is a path for people management career path, or general management career path, or the PNL leadership career path, or the functional leadership career path. And there are paths for deep specializations, whether it be technical specializations and or whether it be functional specialization, and both the paths are equally valuable and equally rewarding in the organization. So that's as far as making the current visible to the people transparently, and also can we make them partner in visualizing the future transparently, that this is the business model, this is the business framework for the organization, this is how it is changing, this is what we know about how the organization is changing, and this is what we can visualize together. Suppose if I talk about my organization, which is primarily upstream manufacturing, if you're moving towards the downstream manufacturing, how does the skill set change? How do the roles change? How do the talent requirements change? How does the solutioning capability change? How does the digital savviness change? Right? So can we make them partner? Nobody has an absolute clarity about how it will change because it is so dynamic. Yeah.
Right.
But still, everybody knows what some part of the elephant that okay, this is how it. But coming together and visualizing together what you call in a complex strategic workforce planning or a capability planning and development. In a simple terms, how does the future look like? Yeah, can we visualize together? And there are possibilities for you to look at,
Right.
whether you're a technical specialist or whether you're a functional specialist, whether you are a general management career path oriented person, whether you're a functional leader. There are the possibilities for you which are possible now, which are possible going forward. Having said that, when we are sticking to the simple two words of honesty and transparency, this is what is working for you now. This is what can work for you in the future. Maybe even after that, you are a different talent. Yeah, and you need to carve out your own career path, and which is absolutely fine. So the concept of career ability, right? We have all changed companies. Yeah, we have not stuck around in one company, but there are many companies for like I have worked with ITC, and I'm a big brand ambassador for that company because they invested in me, and they still keep in touch. but they're invested in terms of the career ability, that I
Correct.
can take up the roles which perhaps were not available in the organization that point of time, uh, and allowed me to go to the different organizations, still keeping in touch. Yeah. So career ability, that okay, I may not be able to give you the career, but I can
Mm.
definitely give you the career ability, and okay,
Right.
with you being with you exploring
Mm.
higher opportunities or customized
Yes.
opportunities for you. It may not necessarily be the higher opportunity, as Sonal was mentioning, that maybe a customized opportunity which works for me as a talent or works
Right.
for that
Sure.
gentleman as a talent, right? She's looking for. So that's honesty and transparency about the today and about tomorrow, and also being comfortable with people being a good brand ambassador of you
Mm.
if you're not able to offer them a good career in the organization.
I think one simple, probably question to be answered, or it's a very complex question to be answered, is if I stay in this company, how I grow personally, how I grow professionally, how I grow financially, and as a human. I think if these four questions, I think if we answer
Yeah,
right, if I get a
true.
confidence as an employee, I think a lot of people really, a lot of problems can be solved, but we need to really bring that focus. So, in the interest of the time, Sonal, I want to just have my last question to you is, it is impossible in today's world because the changing technologies, changing trends and shifts is causing us to improve our organization core competencies, employee skills and all very regularly. Okay. But unfortunately, it is not possible the way the evolution's happening outside. Organizations are big. It's small organizations, the agility might be higher. So whatever the big organizations say, they take a lot of time to build those skills. That's where I think this open innovation or crowdsourcing has emerged. The gig economy. Okay. In fact, from IET, as I said, the Institution of Engineering and Technology, I am chairing one initiative called Open Digital Innovation, so that how the crowd specialists, not for coding and all, that's very low end work. If somebody wants to have an extraordinary business model, can the crowd can help them to design? Or if somebody can come with only okay one brain we or two brains, we always say Elon Musk this gave or Gates gave this or Apple this. Why not we have a collective intelligence? Why only one person we basically praise them? Maybe Indians 4 5 guys can come together and come up with something helping X company and all. So what is your view on this gig economy, crowdsourcing, open innovation? In fact, we are going to launch that as a big platform. It is a non-profit organization. Unlock the power of India and collective intelligence you can bring onto your platform.
Yeah. So, see, it's definitely an interesting concept, and I think it will, take on, but it will also need to undergo some adaptation for it to work well. For the simple reason, see, we gig economy, and I work for a company which provides gig workers to its clients, but we have to understand that, most of the work that my gig workers do is very transactional, which is,
Mm.
the output or the productivity can be measured on a daily basis or even an hourly basis. When you talk of crowdsourcing, or let's say gig economy at a slightly different level, helping organization develop new business models, new business strategies, many of these things are long term investments from a monetary point of view, from an effort point of view, and from a talent point of view. So how do you get, I think what a question that we must ask ourselves is, how will we balance, or how will we ensure that there is a level of engagement over a period of time, because the results will not be visible in a few weeks or sometimes even a few months. So if you really see at an informal level, or at a different level, not an informal level, gig economy or crowdsourcing already works when three people decide to come together and start a company, and they call it a
It's
startup. And but see, they invest in it in terms of money, commitment, time, over a period of time, and that's when they get results. So I think it will take off, but it may not succeed in every product category or business industry. In certain things, perhaps in IT it will succeed more, because there you can compartmentalize the services and the products. You can say, okay, I will build this over a period of time. This would maybe 2 months, 3 months. So I think there is some need for this model to mature, but yes, it will definitely be one of the models in the coming days.
right. So that's where we are working, how to recommend, may not define the new policies required in the organizations. Not the low-end work of the crowdsourcing. Move up the value chain and see that how you get it. I mean, a guy in Germany or Russia or America or Japan can give a great solution to me as a new product innovation. We don't need to wait that only the guy in the company can give that, right? As you rightly said, we need to take care of the intellectual property rights and the trust we have to establish and all those things. So thank you so much, Sonal and Mohit. This is a wonderful discussion. We touched upon many dimensions within a shorter time. I think the employee's perspective, there is a change in terms of their aspirations. They are looking at a purpose behind working and purpose behind their life. Their aspirations also changed. And organizations also have been putting a lot of effort, but as you rightly said, the generation gap is there. I think the current generation, the attention span is different. The expectations is different. So how the organization leadership also understand that and try to bring the required changes and alignment. And most importantly, spending quality time with the employees to understand what is their career, what is that they're looking for and all. And the role of HR as active listener and facilitators and also the innovators to redesign the human capital, not just human resource, in collaboration with the, I think the business and the tech leaders. And finally, it is also very important for the top 5 of that company, top 5 leaders of the business unit, top 5 leaders of the department, top 5 units of that function. They have to, I think, demonstrate that lead by example role. What the top 5 in the board may be thinking to the bottommost, I think automatically the culture will get percolated. But having said that, yes, there is a greediness increased in the employees. And to what extent organization can bear that greediness also, there should be a boundary. So if it is unmanageable, I think the exit is the best thing for them. And if it is manageable, provide opportunities. Thank you so much, Mohit and Sonal. It's a wonderful discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sonal and BSR. Wonderful, engaging discussion. I really enjoyed every moment of it. Thank you so much.
Same
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you so much, VSR. Thank you so much, Mohit. Look forward to being in touch with you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.